in the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, who's available to talk to us now. And Richard, we were just talking about Donald Trump there and what credit he should get for what is coming about between Israel and Gaza. Would you give him credit?
110% total credit. I was in Israel just 2 weeks ago. I met President Herzog. I met Foreign Minister Saar. Let me tell you, the whole of Israel, from the top of government to everybody, are so furious with Keir Starmer, with this Labour government, for abandoning and betraying Israel in their hour of need. And frankly, for our Prime Minister to go to that signing ceremony, he's literally gatecrashing Donald Trump's success. It's just ridiculous. And we've now had confirmation from the American administration that actually recognizing a state of Palestine hindered the ceasefire and peace negotiations.
We're just seeing Air Force One coming into to land in Tel Aviv here, just as you speak, Richard. So the president will be on the ground shortly, doing what he's going to do in Israel.
Yeah, it's going to be meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu and then meeting with hostage families a little bit later on before addressing Israeli Parliament. So we'll bring that all to you on GB News Breakfast. So, Richard, we'll stay with you, but just be aware we may need to come across those live pictures of Donald Trump. What's your reaction to the news that we've had in the past hour or so? Those first 7 hostages have been released from Gaza, and we have just received news in the past few moments that they've crossed safely into Israel. A huge sigh of relief.
Yeah, I'm actually quite emotional because I stood in the house where 2 of those hostages, Gali and Ziv Berman, were where they were hijacked from. I saw the burnt out wreck of that kibbutz. So yeah, it's pretty emotional actually. What it must feel like. One of my team members is actually in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv as we speak. She's just sent me a message about the incredible excitement, enthusiasm, energy there. So it's a very, very emotional moment.
What hope do you have, Richard, of eternal peace in the Middle East, as President Trump would describe it? Do you think that this can hold, bearing in mind that this is only phase 1 of a 20-point peace plan?
Well, we all hope and pray that this can lead to a strong, enduring, lasting peace. Of course, it's difficult. Of course, there'll be hiccups along the way. But goodness me, hasn't President Trump, he has put a huge amount of effort, and we're seeing the early stages of that success. And everybody's now got to play their role in ensuring that it does last. And we can then move from the terrible suffering and deaths that we've seen to a position of peace. We know it's difficult. We know how long it takes. We know 25 plus years on in Northern Ireland, it's still difficult. The pain is still there. So it won't be easy, but this is a massive starting point and a really encouraging moment.
Richard, as Britain's role, you mentioned there that you weren't just sure of what the Prime Minister had to contribute, and yet he's out there in Egypt. What do you see as Britain's role in all of this?
I think our role, frankly, is one where we've hindered the process recently. We've been utterly humiliated on the international stage. We've had the US ambassador to Israel overnight has just tweeted that Bridget Phillipson was delusional in her comments yesterday on the media round. So, frankly, we start from a pretty low base, and under this government, I don't have much hope. But under a reform government, we will restore ourselves to the top table, and we will lead from the front. Of that, your viewers and listeners can be absolutely assured.
We're celebrating or commemorating the 100th birthday of Margaret Thatcher today. She led from the front, didn't she?
She absolutely did, and I'm looking forward to going to a celebratory event this evening. She absolutely led from the front in many ways, and of course there are difficult moments through that period, and no one's perfect. But Britain had a much stronger place on the world stage. And we were a much richer nation back then because she recognised the benefits of the oil and gas industry. To be a rich nation You've got to have cheap energy. She understood about growth, about deregulating, about cutting wasteful government spending. And those are all the key, in a sense, they're the key principles that Reform UK stand by to get this country going again.
We've just got pictures now of President Donald Trump upon Air Force One. It has touched down in Israel, a very brief trip for him today. He'll be meeting with hostage families and Benjamin Netanyahu and then heading to Egypt for this peace summit later on this afternoon. We've just had a post from Steve Witkoff on X, who says he'd like to acknowledge the vital role that the United Kingdom has played in this historic day in Israel. In particular, he says, I want to recognise the incredible input and the tireless efforts of the National Security Advisor, Jonathan Powell. What do you make of that post on X?
Well, there's going to be a debate in Parliament later about the input of Jonathan Powell on the Chinese spying scandal. So let's wait and see. I don't think Jonathan Powell should be in his job for much longer, and we'll have to see. But
significant that Steve Witkoff has name-checked Jonathan Powell, then?
Yeah, well, things will have gone on behind the scenes for sure. But Jonathan Powell has a lot of questions to answer. His role over the ludicrous giving away of the Chagos Islands, his role in the collapse of the Chinese spying scandal, those are key issues that affect the United Kingdom that we're going to be asking serious questions about.
The headline in the Mail today, Richard, is this whole Chinese case has revealed an uneasy truth. A shadowy cabal of men running Britain, but our Prime Minister is not one of them. It sounds as if you would agree with that.
Wholeheartedly. I think the Prime Minister is the puppet who's being sort of pulled in all directions by people like Jonathan Powell. And frankly, given the track record of what we're seeing, you have to ask, whose side is he on?
OK. Richard, thank you very much for asking the question. We'll ask our viewers and listeners to answer it. Thank you very much indeed. And remember, you can have your say as we watch Air Force One taxi there in Tel Aviv.